No songs or albums from hip-hop have charted #1 in 2023 as of now. We want to talk about why that's happening. Let's go.
Arkatech Beatz.
What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? It is the Arkatech Beatz Music Business Podcast. We are your hosts, platinum producers and songwriters, Arkatech Beatz. I am Juggernaut.
I am Mike Trauma D.
And together we make the super duper group, Arkatech Beatz. If it's your first time here, welcome. Make sure that you like, commenting, and subscribing to the channel. Every week we get together to talk about different subjects in the music business to help you navigate this crazy music business on your journey to success. And this week we wanted to talk about why there aren't any hip-hop songs or albums charting #1 on Billboard for the year of 2023 thus far. It said basically this is the longest drought in 30 years. But it doesn't surprise us, because if you've been following us, we've been talking about how people aren't really, changing. They aren't creating things they need to create. And things have been really stagnant for a while, and we've been talking about trying to get people to elevate their game, and now the chickens have come home to roost. So let's talk about it.
Yeah, man. Is it simply that music is trash right now? Can I say
It's
that?
trash. Say it.
I mean, that's what it feels like. We get in a ride, and I have a very hard time trying to figure out what I want to listen to on my ride. Like, I don't know what to listen to. And, some may ask, is it an age thing? But where are the albums? Where's the music? Has anybody dropped lately? Has the big names dropped? Maybe that's the reason. None of the real big names haven't dropped up, this year thus far.
The reality of the situation is that the big names, they're not going to drop as frequent. The big names are now in, 5-10 years into their careers. You can't be asking these guys to drop records every year anymore. Their tenures are really kind of, they start to slow down. So we got Dirk this year. Who else we got that came out this year? Few others, Gunna, a few other folks, but they're not getting those #1s. They got a slew of female artists that are dropping, but they're not getting any #1s. Right? So I think a lot of it has to do with, the absence of artist development. Everybody trying to really kind of create the same type of music. It all sounds the same. No real creativity going on right now. I think that's the other problem.
Is trap and drill dead?
I would say that it's on its way out, and I would say that's because of the low vibration of the music and the violence. I think people have kind of, they're tired. People were getting tired of seeing a rapper get killed every week.
Yeah.
I think that was really what was putting the nail in the coffin, and we were talking about that for some time. That you were going to basically destroy your genre of music through the violence. And people didn't really realize that. Like, you were going to destroy it. It was going to get to this point.
Yeah, there's too many, even some of the live shows, man. Like the violence at some of these shows, shootings, people getting hurt. There's a lot of that going on. And I'm surprised
too much.
I'm surprised that the shows are even still happening. I'm surprised that, I wonder if these clubs have good insurance, because I don't even know how they're allowing some of these artists to perform in their venue.
It is what it is, man. Like, I think that's what you see. I think it's a lack of creativity. We've been saying that. This is before AI really jumped on the scene. We've been saying that, hey, you got 10 guys on a track, and for whatever reason, there's 10 guys to produce the same music you produced last year. It don't make sense.
Yeah, it don't make sense. If 10 guys are producing a record that one producer can produce, and if I listen to a record and it just sounds like okay, and then I find out 10 people produced that record, I'm disappointed. like it took 10 brains
to come up with that.
to make that. Like that's regular. That's just a regular. It's a regular record. There's nothing incredible or exceptional about it.
And you said that on the last pod, bro. You said that there's nothing exceptional coming out anymore. It's like it's all kind of just safe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same tempos, same drum patterns. Just it's like it's just really build a kit, right? You know what I mean? Like just take a drum kit, build the beats together, and that's
You know what? You know what I thought was going to be. What I thought was going to be the start of that. It was when artists started saying, "I don't write lyrics anymore." When they just want to follow. Look, everybody doesn't have that kind of skill. Some of you need to get a pen and pad, sit down, write your lyrics. Take the time to write your lyrics. There's only a very, very, very small percentage of real talented artists that have that gift that they could actually jump in a booth without a pen and pad and come off the head and really deliver some quality content on that record. It's not for everybody. And I don't think an artist should feel like any lesser if they can't do that. I think at the end of the day, coming out with quality music is what's important.
I agree with that, and I think that's part of the way the problem is that, and then also there's no one to tell you that the music is trash. I think the producers are, just be cowards for the placement. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody wants to say, no one wants to say, hey, that's not it.
They don't want to lose out. They don't lose out.
Listen,
I get it. I get it, man. But we're all in this together, man, and we all want to make sure that the music that's coming out is top notch. We want to make sure that we want the placement, but we want to make sure that when it comes out, it's gonna stick around. It's gonna do something. Not sound like this record and that record and just get lost in the sauce with the rest of the records.
But then we have the other problem too, which was the algorithms, right? We said that the algorithms created this ecosystem. And, what people don't realize is that the algorithms are run by the majors, right? So these guys are going to take their music and they're going to make sure that their music is part of that system algorithmically. And that's why you don't really see any growth. They were making sure that their music gets played, regardless of whatever the situation is, because they have to make sure that they have a deal with the streaming platforms. So they have to make sure that their music is going to be at the forefront of it, whether it's good or bad. And I think that's really what, that's what programmed people to think that that's really what's good music, and it wasn't. And it doesn't resonate. It's just being, algorithmically placed in, some cases being controlled by bots. And it just kind of created this system where people just thought that this music was good. And then a lot of the artists who are not really trendsetters, but they like to follow trends, are following that algorithmic playlist situation, creating the same trash. And now we go into this circle of like, okay, it's all trash. And we're just saying how we get here. But we were all programmed to get here.
Yeah. I think the labels don't want to take
no more risk.
They don't want to take the risk. They found something sort of like a blueprint, and they said, let's just follow this. It's safer. We got an idea what our returns are going to be. It worked for A, B, and C, so let's just follow that. But while doing that, you slowly start to kill creativity. You slowly start to kill kind of the heart of what hip-hop is. You
think that was the plan? Did the plan was to destroy the genre?
I don't
slowly but surely.
Honestly, I don't think so. I don't think these labels have that much that kind of foresight. Especially if they're making money off of it, and at the same time they're able to influence masses. and they're able to inject their agenda, you know, and keep their board and their investors happy. I think they want to keep as much control of this thing as possible, and and if they control hip hop, then they will have a good footing. But if they lose out on the whole thing, then they don't get to control the masses. I just think they don't know. Like, they're trying stuff out, and they can't predict what's happening. They try to predict it on a business level, but they have no idea of culture. They have no idea as far as if you remove the creativity, eventually it's going to implode.
It's imploding. Like, do we not getting no number ones? Like, we're not getting any number ones. And, you know, we were talking about, you know, if there's an agenda, you know, at hand as well, because it kind of seems like, you know, we've lost a lot of artists, you know, to gun violence over the last 2 years. So a lot of the male-dominated artists have been, you know, basically removed through violence, and then basically we've created a lane for a lot of, right now there's a surge of female artists. And the question was that we were talking about is that, you know, the music that the female artists are putting out, you know, is it resonating with men? And for the large part, it isn't. And we're wondering if that's also what's contributing to the fact that that we're not getting any number ones, because the music doesn't resonate with men inherently.
Yeah, I think so too. I think men are not going to turn on a female artist talking about her body parts.
Yeah.
And doing this to do, like, I don't think so. I don't see it.
There's no appeal for us outside of looking at your music video.
Right. There's no appeal. And then after a while, when that becomes repetitious, then what? Then, you go on to the next. Right. Additionally, I don't think the female audience is being as supportive as it appears.
Let's expound on that, because I think that's also been a situation that doesn't just apply to hip hop music. That applies to a lot of institutions. Like, you know, you have that complaint with the WNBA where they say, hey, the ladies don't support the WNBA the way they support the NBA, or they don't support their sport like how the men support their sport. Hence, right. That's why you have the pay gap. So it's almost feeling like the same thing. It's like they're listening to it, but they're not really supporting it. And I don't think that's the reason. I think that may be the reason why it's not driving the number ones either.
I think that's partial. I think there's just a lot of different levels at it, and when you put it all together, yeah, I think you're having like a tornado of different things happening, and that's what is affecting the outcome of not having a number one. You know, the fact that men cannot identify with these records, then you have women not really supporting women. You know, of course they like it, they see it, they want to dance, you know, but they're not really supporting it. I don't believe, or at least not in masses. You know,
now what it takes to turn number ones.
Right. And then on top of that, you know, the content is not there. You know, the content is just negative all across the board. You know, you're not having anything like uplifting or kind of praising women or saluting women who are taking the moralistic route. You don't have that.
Did you put moralistic and hip hop in one sentence? They don't go together anymore.
But at least at one time you had an option, and that's across the board too. That's like even that's with men as well. At least you had that option. You know, you had that option to say, you know what, I'm going to listen to this today, but then tomorrow I may be in the mood to listen to that. Right. And if you're a female consumer, you don't have too many options, even with female artists. No, you don't. Like, you're just gonna watch this girl bending her ass over, this girl talking about sex, this girl, like, that's all that's there. There ain't nothing else. There ain't no Lauryn Hills. There ain't no Queen Latifahs. I mean, you know, like there's no balance. So even as a man, if you want to say, you know, I want to throw something on for my niece or whatever, you can't even throw any of that on.
Can't play none of it for my daughter. Let
Nothing.
it drop. Let it drop.
And for those that's like, oh, you guys and the women, men always do that. Yeah, but at one time we had a assortment of things for men. We don't have that anymore for men either.
Yeah. It's all
Or they haven't at least dropped this year.
Shout out Killer Mike.
Shout out to what's that Joyner Lucas?
Oh, shout out to him.
That new
record,
Broski.
That's top notch.
Top notch. Creativity.
Yeah, top notch. See, that's the intelligent, you know, creators.
Yeah.
Right? Know how to make something that's thought provoking, has virality, and then also has, you know, that those kind of songs are going to stand the test of time because he gets it. Everybody don't get it. That's the situation. People don't get it. Like you're not going to be able to create these type of moments if you don't get it. You know, Drake gets it, Cole gets it, Kendrick gets it. You know, your top notch guys, your top level guys, they get it, right? Everybody else is basically just, you know, clamoring for a hit.
But you know what? Now that I'm thinking a little bit more about it, a lot of the new artists, I don't think they care.
Oh no, that's yeah. I totally agree with that when they say they don't care about that.
It's like, oh, I gotta hustle. Oh, I gotta flip. I'm gonna use this rap to flip it. I'm gonna run it as far as I can run it to get what I can get, and then whatever. Like a lot of artists that are in the game are not quote unquote artists at all. They're hustlers.
Real shit.
Gangbangers.
It's changed.
Straight up dots or ratchet chicks. Like a lot of them that's in the game are not artists. They're that person in the hood that lucked up on something and found a way to flip it. They don't know hip hop. They don't study it. They don't know even how to count bars, or they don't know what it's gonna. A lot of them don't. They're just using this for a flip, and it shows in their music.
I guess what we have to ask ourselves as the people who are, you know, who are the quote unquote OGs, you know, we may have to start merely taking a stand to preserve the genre. The genres can't withstand that. Like that's what folks don't realize. Once it stops becoming profitable, that's when the larger issue will happen. So a lot of us can no longer sit on the sidelines anymore, especially the ones that used to be the tastemakers and the gatekeepers and so forth and so on. Like we can't sit on the sideline anymore, let anything go anymore. I think we have to start, like, I think we've taken a back seat to it because, you know, the internet, like, okay, you know, if the people love it, we'll let it ride. You know, we don't jump on it anymore and say, hey, mate, that don't need to be out like that. Like that needs, like there needs to be some sort of checks and balances. And that's really to preserve the overall genre. Like you think any other demographic would let their institutions be at risk? Hell no, they're not going to do it. They're not going to let their infrastructure that they built, you know, get placed at risk because some new people want to come in and play by a different set of rules. They don't do that.
Yo, people love like to watch a car crash. They love drama, you know, because, you know, you watch TV and you're entertained. They love drama, you know, violence, all of those things sell at the box office. Like as human beings, we stop to look. You're driving, car accident, man, the traffic is backed up just for people stopping and looking. Same thing with music. But the problem is we don't have any gatekeepers to say, you know what? I know what human beings naturally may gravitate to, but it's not good for us.
Yeah.
So as a gatekeeper, we're not putting that out, or I'm not signing that, or we're not entertaining that.
Yeah.
We're gonna make good music, and we're gonna stay within these confines. None of that, like the gloves are off. Ever since the internet, ever since these streaming companies and these do-it-yourself, you can upload and just put it out there. It's been a free for all. So any nonsense could go out. Anything could go viral that has enough ignorance in it. Someone could get on a song right now, shoot themselves in the head, and it'll go viral. Like, people will watch. And if that person survives, he probably get a record deal. Just because of the popularity of their video going viral. Like, it's really crazy. I think people are just putting out anything. They don't care. They only care about the streams. They only care about the likes. They only care about the shock value. And it's affecting the music. It's affecting the culture. It affects the entire thing.
Yeah, because it doesn't have to be good anymore.
It doesn't.
It's like it's to your point. It's that we have been sold the lie of viral or virality.
Right.
Like it can go viral,
Right.
and that's why people are just whatever, because we just want it to go viral, and it's not about it being good anymore, right? Like your career can't be built off be going viral. Going viral isn't something that happens very easily.
But it's kind of embedded in our head now that all you got to do is go viral. You go viral, you get maybe 1 million views. Now you got sponsors. Now you got opportunities. Now you could contact this person because you're popular. Now you can open these doors and get these type of deals and endorsements because you're popular. And it has happened. It has happened. People get deals and sponsorships, and they're able to turn their lives around because of something they've done or a part of, or a video that they, go viral. It happens. And I think people are just chasing that in whatever way that they can just for that, and it's reflective in the music content. Absolutely. They're saying whatever. They don't care. I'm saying whatever I feel. I'm not writing it down, so I'm just coming off the top of my head. Whatever it is that comes out, I'm just going to say it, and I'm going to put a beat to it, and that's it. There's no thoughts. And it comes down to people just don't freaking care.
Well, what we want to tell folks on this podcast is that while there's a very, very, very slim and minute chance that you'll go viral, the people who create careers from this, you can see are very much more strategic. And the people that last here for long, long times, 10, 15, 20 years, there's very formulaic. There's a way to make it work. But you can't depend on going viral to feed yourself over a 10-year span. You can't do that. Like, you can't do that. Like, that's a recipe for disaster. And and what you find yourself doing is you just find yourself doing more and more things that are more depraved in order to get attention.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you'll find yourself doing. It's like you'll find yourself first it's like, okay, we're wearing a bikini, then we're down
to on fire.
Yeah, like it doesn't. You're gonna try to keep upping the ante on something that you just cannot continue to up the ante on. Like, first you're fully clothed, and then by the time we get to year 3 or 4, it's like you just wearing socks. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no way for you to continue to do that and to remain relevant. Like, even your biggest people, if you're a Kardashian, like eventually it dwindles down. Like, people make their money, but you cannot continue to do that situation and keep thinking that you're going to get the same level of response for what you did 10, 15 years ago. It just doesn't work that way.
I really think they don't care, Chuck. I think
It's fine. They don't have to care,
You
but
know
they have
what?
to realize that, listen, like this, it's a dead end. It's like you'll get what you got to get for now, and just hopefully you can stack your chips and you can pivot.
Yeah.
But if you're not a person that knows how to stack your chips and pivot, and you don't have the right infrastructure to really capitalize off of it, you're gonna find yourself doing more depraved things for popularity, and then the money ain't gonna be there like you thought it was.
But I think this generation also has this mentality of, well, I don't know if I'm gonna be around
Oh, that's a whole other situation.
another 5-10 years. I'm gonna get what I can get now, and whatever I gotta do to get it. This whole microwave fast food, gotta get it now. You know, this whole YOLO lifestyle, gotta get it now. Don't know if I'm be here. So, and I think like the music, I think this is really bigger than music. You know, honestly, I think what's happening in our community, in our neighborhoods, I think all of that, the lack of education, the lack of families, you know, each one teaching one, the lack of male role models and women role models. Like I think a lack of all of these things in our communities is spitting out this type of energy, and it's reflected in the music. So that's why you're getting music that sounds like this. You have music where artists, if you want to call them even artists, are not even respecting themselves, or they're involved in certain things, whether it's scamming or hustling people or drug dealing or whatever the case may be. You know, it's being reflective of what's happening in the community. And yes, hip hop has always been kind of reflective of what's happening in the community, but it's to an extreme. People are getting killed. And let's talk about how people are being so disrespectful on records. Like the disrespect on records is extreme. You know, yeah, I remember when you used to be able to rap about somebody and you may didn't say their name. It was subtle jabs here and there. Or even when you're rapping about someone, you back and forth with them, it kind of like stayed at a certain pace, stayed at a certain level. Now you got smoking this ops. Now you got artists shooting videos at somebody's grave site. You got all sorts of like off the chain things that are happening. And then, you know, how as a family member or friend that sees these videos, how are they going to respond? You know, they go back in the hood and they go and find, like, it's a cycle.
It goes back to what you just said, though. You know, it's a lack of everything, and part of it is systemic. But you know, I would say it's 2023, and we all have access to information. So I can't really blame ignorance anymore, bro. You know, I want to say that, but I can't, because we all have access to information now.
Yeah, but just because we have access to information doesn't mean that people know how to access that information. Or
I'll take that.
Or they don't know what to look for. They don't know the right questions to ask, or they just don't have the mind capacity or the understanding or intellect to put one on one together to figure it out, to comprehend. It's a lot of that going on around too. You know, you tell somebody, and I'll give you an example. You give somebody a link for an ebook, and you know, what do I do with this? Click the link. like you would be amazed. Like, what do I do? Click the link. Where does where does it go? It goes to your download folder. Now, some may say, well, that's straight ignorance. You know, some people say that's stupid. But then at the same time, if you're not used to doing something, or nobody showed you, or there's no interest in you to kind of go and check things out yourself, you're not going to know. So there's a lot of things that we do and say that we're assuming everybody else understands and knows how to do.
Yeah.
And it's not always the case. Bottom line, we gotta be better. We gotta do better with this music. We gotta be more creative. We gotta really look at the content that we're giving out, and really want to ask ourselves, what are we doing this for?
When we say that we want people to be more creative, I think we need to elaborate on that, because I think that's like the blanket statement that we say, hey, folks are not being creative. What does that entail now? It's 2023. Like, how do we get back to a number one hip hop album and stuff? And a lot of it is, I would say a lot of the number ones are not coming anymore because, a lot of us who are legacy producers, the people who know what the recipe is, just aren't participating. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us have said, you know what? If you think about, like, say, for example, like I seen an interview with The Alchemist the other day, and he was just basically saying that, he no longer cares about the industry, right? And everything that he does now is just kind of, on a legacy type of level. But,
say that. With all due respect to Alchemist, he can say that.
Right.
For obvious reasons. He can say that. He can do that. And nothing against Alchemist. We know we've known Alchemist and worked with Alchemist, and he's great at what he does. But he can walk away. He can do that. His contribution to this game is impeccable.
Right.
But he can walk away. He has that choice. Some of us don't have that choice. Some of us is we got to, because it goes further than just rap music for us.
True.
It's Black culture.
True.
So it's like we want to make sure that the effects of the music resonates properly within our community.
So basically, you said a lot of us have a responsibility not to walk away from it. Yeah, on that level, because listen, yeah, if you want a number one, Tim is still out here, Pharrella's out here, Dre's still out here, there's a lot of us that are still out here, but the artists of today, and even what's his name says that a lot too, Hit Boy. He says, a lot of the artists, like you said, don't really care about all that. They've created a ecosystem where they can survive outside of, hit records, and that's what they're relying on. But what they don't realize is that they're cannibalizing themselves over time. Like, yeah, you can eat it now, but you're going to destroy the genre if the genre doesn't produce what the industry designates as a hit. If we're not creating hits, if we're not creating real billboard hits, radio hits, real sales, like, this genre will start to implode.
Right. What I would like to see, and to kind of go back to creativity, or being that creativity could be considered a broad statement, I would like to see something different. I would like to see artists, producers, camps say, you know what, we're going to do something different. We're not going to come out with the typical this sound. Let's just try something else. If more camps decided to just try something else, I think we will be on the path to pushing this thing a whole lot further. Just try something different. Like, especially if you're a new artist and you're looking to gain a fan base, that it is the best time, because it's harder for a artist to kind of switch gears, who's been successful doing one thing, and they've been reaping their benefits and success putting out a certain type of music and project. Okay, whatever. But as new artists, I think these new artists have a responsibility. Like, you're getting into this game, you need to contribute something new and fresh. I think you need to come in here and breathe some fresh air, do something different. And I think that we need more differences. I should say. I think we need an assortment of things because you can't have a good sandwich without all the right ingredients, right? You know what I'm saying? Like you need a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, and a little bit of that. You know?
I would argue, and I want to play devil's advocate. You got 100,000 songs being uploaded a day.
Right.
You mean to tell me that none of these are different? You mean to tell me that none of these things can cut through? That everybody's doing the exact same thing? Or is it really just a system that just keeps bubbling the same stuff to the forefront?
Both. I think it's both. I think if more people were doing something different, the algorithm wouldn't have much to grab.
Got it. I guess basically we're feeding the algorithm with too much of the same, so it doesn't have to choose anything outside of the like.
Right. Because what happens is the algorithm is based off of what you give them, what you feed it. It's going to look for, oh, okay, this versus, how about this? Create a beat and input it and see what comes out. Oh, this doesn't match anything that we have. You know what I'm saying? Like, it can't match exactly something to add. That means you're following a template. The key is to come with something new, something fresh, something that hasn't been done before. And those are the people that survive. Those are the people that push this culture forward. Those are the people who go number one. Like, and don't get me wrong, everything left field ain't gonna hit. Everything left field ain't gonna be hot. But that's the risk you take. That's the excitement of creativity. Like, will this work? I don't know. Let's see.
That's the thing, man. And like we said before, it's like the system doesn't want that. The system wants
business wise. But business wise, like, as when we worked at Loud Records back in the days, right? In the business environment, of course, you would have to satisfy certain things, right? One of the jobs of the A&Rs was to satisfy the business without compromising
the music.
Yeah. And that was one of the key things the A&R had to do. The A&R, when the label is saying we need an album out by this month because we got to meet a certain quota by this and that or so and so, the A&R got to be the one to be like, look in the studio, be like, musically we're not ready. Musically we almost there, so, and the A&R would have to be the one to kind of fight with the label. Like, listen, I think we almost there. We can't do it by that month, but I think we could get it. If you push it back a little bit, I think we almost there. And give and take. But it was up to the A&R and the artists in their camp to kind of make sure that when it's time for them to deliver their product, that they were satisfied with what they were given. And it was because of taking the time out to be creative, taking the time out to experiment, taking the time out to, let's call this producer in, let's see what he could do. Let's call this guitarist to come in and see what he could do. Let's mess around and see what we could come up with. And there's not enough of that. There's not enough of let's just get in there and jam and see what happens. Let's just be free and just be creative. Now it's more like, let's go. We need this.
Yeah, it doesn't fit this thing here. It doesn't fit this little template we got going.
Right.
If it's not fitting the template, we're not putting it out.
And that's why I salute I salute the independent artists that's taking their time out to just deliver something that's new and fresh. Like the artists that's like not chasing the labels, not chasing the big companies. They're just in their own little world, in their own little box, And yeah, they may not be getting the millions and millions of views right now, but they're creating a niche, and they putting out content that's true to themselves and it's creative, and that's what's gonna last, man. That's what's gonna feed you. That's what's gonna get you to these shows. That's what's going to help you grow.
So if I had to switch gears, how do we get a number one outside of relying on the legacy artists? Right, outside of saying, "Hey, Drake drop an album, Cole drop an album," how do we get some of these newer artists to a number one? You know, I think also what we're seeing is we're seeing artists that have, you know, great amounts of popularity, but the music don't match the popularity. They're popular, but the music really just it's really just average. Music really isn't like above average. The music is just regular. The music doesn't really create any real moments. You know, there's no big records. You know, like you couldn't be a 50 Cent without a big record. You couldn't be a Ja Rule without a big record, or Eminem without a big record. Like I think there's an absence of a big record for a lot of these artists, or there are records that seem to have, like, you know, TikTok famous type records, but not big records that cross, you know, gender and you know, like that transcend all of that, age, etc.
Because we have too much violent records.
Too much violent records.
Too much violent records. Like, you're not gonna have a big record, a big violent record. Like even Annie Up wasn't that violent.
But you know, they would say that even if you say Country Grammar was a violent record.
Country Grammar?
I'm going downtown, baby, out with the boom boom, ready to let it go. Remember, it's a it has the context, but it was kind of done in a way that was real slick, right? Right.
So it comes back to creativity, regardless. That was, and that's a great record, man. That's a great record.
But it's slick, right? Like, people don't even realize that he was being real aggressive. But it was slick.
But you know who will have a record like that though? Is it Drake's record Slide?
Okay.
You would think it's a dance record.
Again, got to be slick about it.
Very creative. You know, folks are not being creative. Like, you gotta, if you want to do one of those kind of records, man, you just gotta be creative about it.
So that you can be playing it and don't even know what it means.
You gotta be creative. One of my favorite groups, MOP, man, those guys would say some of the most violent things, but the creativity in their wordplay and how they say it and how they do it.
I don't know if I could agree with that. You know, those guys will take trees off. I love that. Bracelets and wait, came off. Come on, man, just take it. Yeah, come on. But that's a different time.
It's a great record.
It's a different. You know, it's a different time. Like, you know, honestly,
but even then, you're only gonna reach a certain level of success, you know, based on how, like, upfront you are being violent. Like, you're only gonna go so far on a record, you know.
It's not the time anymore, bro. It's you know, society is not. It seems more violent now, but it's really
dying.
But it's not really. It's not really built for it. Like, you know,
look, people are dying. There was a time you could rap and sell out stuff.
But yeah, people
weren't dropping dead every week. Like, artists were dropping dead every week. You know,
it's a lot different.
Yeah, and also there was a battle of like a hip hop battle spirit still ingrained in those records and in the content. It was still more of I'm better than you raps, you know, like, you're a sucker MC. I'm taking your chain. You don't deserve that because you're not an MC. Like, it was more of that kind of attitude versus I'm gonna kill you. I did I did this to your mom, and I'm pissing on your grave, and then video footage of it actually happening, and
Well, but that's the social engineering. I don't call it social media anymore. Social engineering. That's the aspect of it that they keep up in the ante, right? Keep up in the ante, like you said. You start here, next minute, before you know it, you're jumping off a bridge, and you say you saw on fire. It's the up the ante. Like, it's for what anybody's doing anything for a viral moment. They're going into people's cars, and they're taking people's personal stuff on camera, and they're creating these situations where they're putting themselves in danger. It's because it's the up the ante. So the music has to follow suit. Like, so what can be, like, you would say Eminem is probably one of the most provocative artists of our generation, right? That said some of the wildest things on track. After a while, there's only but so much wild shit you can say. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if we're talking about different genres, R&B and stuff like that. Before, it used to be innuendo about sex. Now it's just straight. I want this. This is what it is, and it's like you can't continue to up the ante. It's like the shock value is almost gone. Like, you can't. It's like we've gotten to a point where it's just okay. Damn, that's all y'all can say.
right. That's all you can say. That's all you can show. I think if, as far as to go back to your question about number one, I think one of the first things you got to do is slow down with the heavy violent content. I think that's one of the things that's hurting like the genre and hurting music. Like, the content,
Gotta get back to some sort of fun. Because say that, I hate to say it like that, but I think that's absent right now. I don't think that it's fun anymore.
what happens is when you certain topics are only going to allow you to reach a certain level. Off the bat. If you're rapping about this, just know that this record is not going anywhere after that.
Yeah.
If you're cursing 30 times on a record and you don't got a clean version, at least, that record ain't going so far.
Yeah.
And
I think people are not intentional about it, like you're saying right now.
And on top of that, you limit yourself in other opportunities because you're putting out music with this type of content. So now you're limited, and you're kind of like put in that box. Like, okay, he's over there. And a lot of you just kind of alienate yourself from a whole fan base. There's a lot of people who don't want to listen to violent music all day, every day.
The huge majority.
Like, you wake up in the morning and you turn on the radio and you already you don't they say that every day, all day?
And I think you said something also too before where you say, like, society is very delicate right now mentally.
Yeah.
And I don't think that people can handle it anymore. I think after the pandemic, after everything, I think everybody is a lot more delicate. I think, we have a lot more issues with mental illness. And I think that it doesn't resonate like it used to. Or it creates a situation where, it makes things even more negative than they once were. I think people are just not capable of mentally handling what's going on right now. Just life. And then if you compound that on top of it, it just kind of creates this situation where it just went crazy. The talking of the negative music, the promotion of drug use, it just kind of creates this situation where folks just can't manage it anymore, bro.
Yeah. And folks don't want to be constantly bombarded with that. Yeah. Folks want to live their life. They want to escape, some of the harshness that's going on in their world, and come with additional content, man. Come with different stuff, not the same old shoot 'em up. Like, if you got to get that off on a record or two, fine, but
it can't be every single one. Yeah,
it can't be everything. Like, it can't go from shooting to hoes and shooting again, the drugs and bets hoes, like for the whole, like switch it up, like give us something so thought provoking, man. And I feel that's another thing. Folks don't want to make records that's thought provoking, that makes you want to like, what did he say? Yo, that was dope. How he said that, how he put that together, and maybe then it's not capable of making records like that. I don't know.
It's the Arkatech Beatz Music Business Podcast, folks. Just trying to give it to y'all real.
I'm sure a lot of you guys are having the same conversation.
Yeah, every day.
Yeah, so we just having the conversations and putting it on camera, and I'm sure you guys are having these same conversations, man.
Absolutely. We just have to have a quick, I don't want to say sponsor, but these episodes are brought to you today by the books, the Musician's Guide to Music Copyrights. If you haven't already gotten that, make sure that you're picking that up. We just released a new book called The Musician's Guide to Music Publishing. Very comprehensive on music publishing. You definitely want to make sure that you're doing that, you're taking a look at those situations, right? Also, we have the Songwriter's Guide to Song Registration, and then we also have the Ultimate Guide to Forming Your Own Music LLC. Just making sure that you're picking those up to further your music career. And of course, those are the things that help us to continue to do what we're doing in terms of, creating this content for you guys to listen to. So your support is always appreciated. But before we get out of here, there's a nice level of competition going on between Jim Jones and Pusha T. Of course, Push. Jim was online talking about how, Push wasn't top 50 rapper, which I think is,
Push is on my top 50 list.
Yes, Push got to be a top 50, bro. Like, just for the fact that he's still here doing it 20 years later. And then Push didn't take too kindly to that. So, of course, for Fashion Week, with Pharrell's new line for Louis, they dropped a new song, or Push dropped a new song, was tapping him a little bit light in it. Wasn't really, it was subliminals. So, Jim not to back down from any challenge. I salute him on that. He jumped out the window. He dropped the release, his new joint, just last night.
Well, he gonna take advantage of the controversy, man.
Absolutely, because he know how to market.
Yeah, he not that battle type rapper. He's just gonna just win or lose. He's just gonna just use this momentum to just get him in another space, man. So
yeah,
I get it.
That's the hustler mentality.
Yeah.
So the question is now, when Push comes back, and he will, how surgical does he get with it? Does he take it into the dirt? Does he get real personal with it? Do you think he goes, does he take it, where I think I know he can take it? And the question is, how terrible will that be?
There's a lot of things that he can.
It's not good. It's not good. It's really not good. Like, it's not good with this type of guy, and the way that this guy, this guy has, he looks like a guy who has studied the etherverse.
He
perfected the diss record.
I think he studied both. Like he's the takeover and like the clarity and the preciseness of Jay-Z, taking the time out to really make sure the right words are said. Like, man, it hits a certain way. It really does, man. He's very surgical. He's very precise. And I listened to that record and I was like, man, why did he use those particular words to say it like that? And this guy is just, he's very dangerous.
I know. I'm afraid for Jim, man. Honestly, I'm afraid for him. I'm like, I don't want to see, any of our icons get torn down in such a way. And it's like,
and
I understand you don't want a good, promotion to go to waste, but I'm wondering if it's worth it.
Yeah, is it,
Just wonder if it's worth it because he didn't come for you directly, and I just wonder if it was worth it. And I wonder if it was worth, expressing your opinion. To say that he wasn't top 50.
What? You're not fucking
You know?
listen, man.
You can express it. You can just say, "Hey, he's not my top 50, but if you love him, it's fine." He could have just left it there.
Left it at that, but he
Yeah,
kinda went
yeah.
through.
But he tried to, but then tried to use the platform to influence. When you start to use your platform to influence, that's when it gets dangerous. It's very tricky. And it's like, okay, now it's time. That's the Arkatech Beatz Music Business Podcast, folks. We gotta just,
Watch
we
and see.
gotta watch and see.
Yeah.
Give it another week or so, because I'm sure by the time this come out, the new one's gonna be out, and it's like, whoa. But if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel.
Yo, you think he gonna bring up Max B?
Oh, hey man, I need him on that. Why you do that if he gonna do this record? If he gonna do it,
Do the outro.
yeah.
Do the outro.
I need him on that. Why you do that? If he's gonna do it, put on the why you do that so our coins can go crazy. Because that's gonna get played 1,000,000 times. So that'll help. That'll be a nice new check for us. But yeah. Make sure you following us at arkatechbeats.com. Make sure that you're following us on that situation. Thank you guys for listening. And until next time,
Peace.
peace everybody.